Zumen, silent guilt, deep moral pain, and the awakening of the responsibility of consciousness. The testimony of the spirit Zumen, presented in the second part of Heaven and Hell, reveals a spiritual state marked by silent guilt, intense moral suffering, and the gradual clarity that emerges when consciousness confronts its own choices. Unlike rebellious or defensive spirits, Zumen suffers in a contained manner, turned inward, demonstrating a process of awakening that still occurs under the weight of pain. Zumen manifests with preserved awareness and clear memory of his earthly life. His suffering is not expressed through external accusations or justifications, but through a deep sense of regret. He acknowledges that he was wrong, perceives the consequences of his actions, and feels the pain of having caused suffering, even though in life he tried to minimize or ignore the impact of his choices. This late clarity weighs heavily on his conscience. Modern depth psychology helps to understand this state. Silent guilt arises when the individual recognizes the mistake but has not yet found internal means to elaborate, repair, or reframe the experience. Unlike defensive guilt, which seeks external culprits, here there is a direct confrontation with one's own responsibility, generating intense suffering, yet fertile for learning. Spiritism clarifies that Zumen's suffering is not punishment, but a natural effect of the consciousness awakening to the law of cause and effect. Upon clearly perceiving what was done and what was left undone, moral pain arises as an educational mechanism. There is no eternal condemnation, but a process proportional to the degree of lucidity achieved. Modern science reinforces this reading by showing that moral maturation requires the integration of experience. Studies on ethical responsibility indicate that recognizing the harm caused is an essential condition for rebuilding a sense of dignity. On a spiritual level, this integration occurs more directly, as there are no more material distractions that dull perception. Another striking point in Zumen's testimony is the absence of revolt. He suffers, but does not rebel against the justice of his own condition. This posture, although painful, is a sign that consciousness has already begun the path of transformation. The suffering that arises from inner honesty tends to convert sooner or later into an impulse for repair. Spiritism teaches that this state is not definitive. As repentance transforms into a sincere desire for change and a purpose to act differently in the future, moral pain begins to lose intensity. Spiritual justice does not require perpetual despair, but responsibility accompanied by hope and inner work. This testimony brings an essential lesson for the present. Recognizing mistakes in life, asking for forgiveness when possible, repairing damages, and adjusting behaviors greatly softens future processes. What is faced now with courage is learned in a lighter way. Zumen teaches us that consciousness does not escape the truth. Sooner or later, it encounters itself. When this encounter is made with humility, even if painful, it is already the beginning of liberation. The pain that teaches does not destroy, it prepares. Reflecting on this account is an invitation to conscious responsibility in the present. Taking ownership of choices, correcting paths, and acting with empathy now is a profound care for the future of one's own consciousness. Evolution begins when truth is embraced with courage. If this testimony helped you reflect on guilt, responsibility, and inner transformation, like, share, and leave your comment. Your participation helps this message reach more people.